The human transport ship Horizon Drift moved quietly through the border of the outer sectors. Most of the crew was asleep, except for one man who stood alone in the narrow maintenance corridor. His name was Rion. He was not a high officer, not a decorated warrior, not someone whose name echoed through star systems. He was simply a mechanic who happened to be in the wrong place on the wrong day, which led him to the discovery that changed his view of the universe. The ship had taken in a silent passenger days earlier. She had been found drifting in an escape pod, malnourished, dehydrated, and barely conscious. Her body was marked with the faint shimmer of alien bioluminescence. Her long hair, silver and pale blue, hung in tangled strands. Her eyes stayed downcast, and she spoke only when necessary. The crew did not know her name, so they called her Lyra because it was simple and gentle. She accepted the name quietly, as if she did not expect to be called anything. Rian was assigned to check the escape pod she had arrived in, but every time he passed the med bay, he felt a pull. Not fascination with her appearance, not curiosity about her species. It was the heavy silence around her, a silence that did not feel natural, a silence that wrapped around her shoulders like a forgotten cloak. One evening, when most of the crew rested, Rian stopped by the med bay again. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Lyra sat alone on the bed. Her back was straight. Her hands were resting in her lap. Her hair hung down in a tangled mass. The medical team had tried to treat her wounds and give her food, but no one had touched her hair. No one had even tried. It looked neglected for years. She lifted her eyes when he stepped in. She did not speak. She rarely did. Rian cleared his throat. He held a small maintenance toolkit in his hands, out of habit more than purpose. He had been thinking about this moment for hours, unsure why he cared so much. He finally said, in a soft voice, "Your hair looks painful. I can help if you want." Lyra blinked slowly. She did not nod or shake her head. Her silence was neither yes nor no. It was simply silence. Rian did not step closer until she lowered her gaze again. That was the closest thing to a permission he expected. He found an old brush in a supply drawer. It had not been used in months, but it was clean enough. He moved closer, careful not to make sudden movements. Lyra remained still. Her shoulders tightened. Her hands gripped each other slightly. Rian noticed, but did not comment. "I will be gentle," he said quietly. He lifted a strand of her silver blue hair. It was knotted, coarse, and uneven. Whoever she had lived among before had not cared for her. Or maybe she had lived alone so long that there was simply no one around to help. The first touch of the brush made her stiffen instantly. Her entire body froze. Her breath stopped. He pulled his hand back. "Sorry," he said. "I won't hurt you." She did not look at him. Her breathing returned, slow and shallow. He tried again. This time he brushed even slower. The bristles passed through only the outer layer of her hair. She stiffened again, but less sharply. Her shoulders rose, then fell gradually. Rian kept going. Stroke by slow stroke, the tangled strands began to loosen. The dim lights of the med bay reflected on the pale blue glow in her hair. The room remained quiet, except for the soft rhythm of the brush. Lyra did not speak, but she did not stop him either. After several minutes, Rian noticed a slight tremor in her hands. Not fear this time. Something else. Something like unfamiliar memory. He realized then that she might not have been touched by anyone for years. He wondered what kind of life led to that. He wondered who had failed her so badly. He brushed the side of her head gently. Lyra inhaled sharply. She was not used to this. Not used to simple human kindness. The idea made Rian's chest tighten. "I am almost done," he whispered. She nodded barely, a small motion, but it was the first she had offered him. When he finished, her hair fell in smooth waves over her shoulders. It still looked wild, but it was no longer neglected. She lifted a hand and touched it, as if unsure that it was truly hers. Her fingers trembled again. Rian stepped back. "If you ever want help again, you can tell me." Lyra looked at him for a long moment. Her eyes were not empty this time. They held something soft and vulnerable. Her lips parted, and she said quietly, "Thank you." Her voice sounded fragile, but sincere. From that day on, she began to speak more, little by little. Rian learned that she was not just any alien. She was the daughter of a clan leader from a distant world far beyond the common roots. Her people had gone through years of internal conflict. She had trusted the wrong person, and it led her to be locked away in isolation. The pod she had been found in was not sent to save her. It was sent to remove her. She thought no one would care if she lived or died. She thought she would drift until the stars swallowed her. The crew of the Horizon Drift changed that. But more than anyone, Rian changed it. He treated her not like a specimen or a guest, but like a person. He spoke to her like someone whose opinions mattered. He asked her questions about her world, her customs, and her dreams. When she did not want to answer, he waited kindly. She began joining him on small maintenance tasks. She observed everything with cautious curiosity. Sometimes she asked questions that surprised him with their depth. Sometimes she simply watched him work in silence. He never minded. Her presence felt calm, even with the faint glow she carried. One day, while they adjusted a damaged sensor panel together, she said, "You are different from the others." Rian paused. "How so?" "You look at me without fear," she said. "Or caution. Or expectation." "I look at you like anyone," he replied. She shook her head gently. "No, not like anyone." Rian smiled. "Then I guess I am honored." Lyra looked away, but a faint warmth touched her cheeks. Weeks passed. Her health improved. Her strength returned. She walked with more confidence. She even laughed once, quietly, like she had forgotten how. The sound surprised the entire engineering team, who had grown fond of her without quite understanding why. But trouble was never far in the outer sectors. One night the Horizon Drift received a distress signal from a nearby colony. A hostile group had been spotted approaching. The crew prepared for emergency procedures. Rian rushed to secure the lower decks when he heard hurried footsteps behind him. Lyra stood there, breathing hard. "I want to help." Rian shook his head. "It is dangerous." She stepped forward. "My people hid my voice. They never allowed me to speak for myself. I will not stay silent again. Not while others are at risk." He could not refuse her. Not when she looked so determined. Lyra accompanied him to the lower decks. Together, they restored the shield stabilizers and ensured the colony signal relayed clearly. Her knowledge of old alien tech proved more useful than anyone expected. When one of the shield conduits overloaded, Rian moved to fix it, but Lyra pushed him aside and took the heat spike herself. It scorched her arm, but she completed the repair before collapsing to her knees. Rian caught her. "Why would you do that?" She looked up at him with steady eyes. "Because you once faced my silence without fear. Because you helped me when no one else did. Because you showed me I could still belong somewhere." He carried her to the med bay. Her injury was not severe, but the exhaustion from her effort was clear. She rested with her head against the pillow. Her newly brushed hair spread across the sheets like silver waves. Rian stayed with her until dawn. He did not touch her hair this time, but he adjusted the blanket carefully so she would stay warm. She watched him with soft eyes. When the crisis passed and the colony was safe, the crew celebrated. But Rian stayed by Lyra's side. She rested quietly, her breathing slow but steady. She said suddenly, "I never knew touch could be gentle." Rian looked at her. "Everyone deserves kindness." Lyra shook her head lightly. "Not everyone receives it." He thought about that. It was true. Many lived in cold corners of the universe, unseen and unheard. But humans, in all their flaws, had a strange power. They had a way of changing the course of others through small acts. A simple brush. A simple gesture. Lyra continued, "When you brushed my hair that day, I thought you would hurt me without meaning to. I did not know kindness could feel strange. I did not know it could make me tense, because it felt unfamiliar." Rian sat down beside her. "You do not need to be afraid of kindness anymore." She looked at him for a long moment. "I am trying." "And I will help you," he said. She smiled faintly, the glow around her softening like a calm river under moonlight. Days turned into weeks again. Lyra moved with new confidence and new purpose. She trained with the crew, learned the ship's systems, and even developed a habit of sitting near the observation deck to watch the stars drift by. Rian often joined her. They spoke about everything and nothing. One evening she said, "When my people see me again, they will not recognize me." Rian asked gently, "Is that what you want?" She closed her eyes for a moment. "I want them to see the person I became, not the one they locked away." "You can show them," Rian said. "Only because you reminded me I still had worth," she replied. Rian felt his chest warm. "I did not do much. You changed everything," she said quietly. The Horizon Drift eventually received a diplomatic request from Lyra's home region. A neutral envoy would arrive to escort her back. The news created a mixture of relief and tension among the crew. They knew she belonged to a larger world, but they had grown attached to her presence. Rian felt